late in the day it is.
Yeah, and it seems like a common theme no matter what the topic is. Anytime we see these government cronies in front of a Congress.
Joe Hagmann here, co-host of the Hagmann and Hagmann Report.
Wow.
I think that skipped on the playlist to our other video. But anytime we see these, people who are going in front of Congress from government that need to answer questions that are vital, that the people in Congress want to know, especially, are you going to try, Department of Justice, are you going to try to criminalize free speech? And they can't give you a yes or no. I mean, that's like saying, Obama, are you going to try to ban guns, confiscate guns, and make them illegal in America? Well, I'm not going to answer that. They should be fired, held accountable. These people are not held accountable.
Right.
The public doesn't hold them accountable. Their bosses don't hold them accountable. Their coworkers don't hold them accountable. And nobody does. So they continue with these charades, these crimes, and this evil that they are pushing onto us, and they will continue. It will get worse until we hold them accountable.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe figuring out how to do that would be something we need to.
I don't know.
And is it too late? Also, that's something we don't know. We're going to go to your phone calls. There's a headline from Russia Today. Holy smoke! Will the Islamic extremists ignite rioting across Europe? We have that. We're going to get into, and also the Israeli, UK, U.S. drills being carried out, the war games in the Persian Gulf. We have an audio clip for that we are going to play, but we're going to go to your calls first. And area code 630, you've been on hold the longest. We're going to go to you first. You're on live with the Hagmann and Hagmann Report. 630.
Hey, Doug and Joe, how you guys doing?
Very good, sir. What's on your mind?
Hey, I just want to say a couple things. One, I think the majority of people are still just not even had a clue of what's going on. I was with some friends last weekend, and I'm trying to talk about some of the things that are going on, and they're just they just won't believe it. Like something as simple as that the rebels that are fighting in Syria and Libya or wherever are Israeli Al-Qaeda, and they just wouldn't believe it, and I just said let's go look it up, and I'm just amazed at how many people that are still just these people are all going to vote for Obama. I don't even want to.
You're right.
I'm just almost like embarrassed that I'm friends with them and even related to some of them.
Yeah, and you're not alone. The majority, I would say 100% of our listeners have this problem. We have this problem in our own family.
Yeah.
You can take to your friends evidence of the president himself saying he is funding Al-Qaeda with non-lethal support, but they still won't believe it.
Or that must mean something different.
Right. I mean, the guy admits it. It's mainstream news. It's not a secret. It's not hidden anymore.
Yeah.
And not only is he funding them, they are, transporting these radical Al-Qaeda groups from one country to another to overthrow whichever government their flavor of the week is. This right now it's Syria. Moving on to Iran.
How did you handle it, caller? I mean, what did you do? Did you just finally give up, or did you? I mean,
I just in the end I just say, you know what, if I'm just trying to open your eyes a little bit, and if you guys still vote for Obama, then I'm sorry to say, but you deserve what you're going to get, and
yeah,
I mean that's all I could say, and they might, and they laugh at me, they just think I'm like they just basically say I'm just like, man, you're crazy, you're just a conspiracy theorist,
What about?
And, so
did you talk to him about like the quantitative easing or the Bernanke's announcement at all? Because I mean,
they all think that's good for the economy. I'm just like, how do you not see this? How do you, this is like a repeat of '08 except on a bigger level.
Right.
it's like the housing bubble again. I mean, it's, you know,
They are.
all these more suspect securities, and I don't think there's a point anymore. I just can't. But at the same time, like, I don't have anything else to talk about. I don't feel like talking about sports anymore. You know, these guys are all talking about their fantasy football teams, and I have nothing to say. And you know, it's just I'm losing.
I know.
I can feel myself changing. You know, like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty unbelievable. But I wanted to mention one more thing too. That my wife, the other day, she had a dream, and you know, I basically, you know, just get right to it. She said she dreamt that, you know, we live in an apartment and everything, and she basically said that everybody in the building and a whole bunch of people were in our place, basically hiding out, or not hiding out, but just everyone was coming over there basically because we were the only people that had food and water stored, and the electricity was out, and the people were coming in these uniforms they were armed. They looked like, you know, basically like SWAT teams coming, and in order to restore your electricity, you had to pay like a crazy amount of money, and they would threaten you, and you know, she told me about this dream the other morning, and she's asking me, like, you know, is this some kind of signal, you know? And I'm just like, you know, it could be, you know, because, I mean, we're at the point where both of us are at the point where we have no idea when, you know, we're basically kind of scared. And, you know, I want to mention this too, that, you know, we're of the Indian descent. You know, I was born here in America and brought up here, but my wife, she came here about 15, 16 years ago when she was a teenager and everything. And, you know, we're both Christian, like, brought up, and all our ancestors for like the past, I don't know how many centuries have been Christian and everything, and we're from the southern part. And her family is still there, and I got a lot of family still there too. And sometimes I just think, like, you know, how they've been saying that we're heading straight into the direction of Nazi Germany, and that you know, that didn't just happen all at once. It happened over like a 10-year period of time. And sometimes I feel like, you know, and she even makes a suggestion, you know, like, she's like, maybe we should leave here, and you know, maybe this is a sign that, you know, we need to leave for a little bit or something. And you know, it's just
well, two things about the dream. I've been hearing more and more people dreaming. Now, it's not because of the circle of people that I'm involved with, but I'm hearing from people that don't follow us or don't listen to us or don't care, you know, about dreams like that. And I know you are too, an increase. And the second thing, though, you know, to me, what's going to happen, I don't think you're going to be able to escape it by changing your geographical location. You know, I really don't. What happens here in America is going to happen elsewhere, maybe at a different time and a different level, because I don't think any country is going to escape this. Now, that said, you know, you know, there may be some merit in changing, but I don't know. Boy, that would be a hard decision if you're from India. Yeah, I don't know.
It's just like we have family there, and I mean, you know, we could easily, I guess, make a living there, but it's just something that she's been, just with all this information that I've been feeding her, like, she's just really worried about what's going to happen here. And I mean, just to, I guess, have that option, I guess, is, you know,
right.
Something that we've been thinking about, you know.
Well, I think hopefully everyone has passports or their passports, you know, and if you have to make a quick exit from the United States, certainly, hopefully you can, you know, be prepared, and but you know, do it. I would say this, and I think our callers would agree, or listeners would agree with this. You know, you've got to, being Christian, you've got to really pray about it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing, man. I don't know. You know, if I was in if I were in your shoes, I don't know what I'd do. Right.
But one thing is always to make sure you have they call them a bug out bag, and a plan. Coordinate with your family. Make sure you have a meeting place in case communications are down. Just be prepared and always be alert.
Yeah, indeed.
If I were to bring up a plan like that to my family, they would just look at me like I'm nuts.
Well, just a quick word of advice.
To be honest,
Well,
just write down a place. Just say, look, you can laugh at this all you want, but if anything goes down crazy, this is my plan, and
or here's where we need to meet.
Yeah,
if we're not all together,
and I
we're
guarantee
meet here.
If something does happen, you will see your family show up there.
Yeah.
Wanting answers to what's going on.
Yeah, and that's the other thing with your discernment. I mean, you've got the gift now of knowledge, of that extra knowledge there. Like people that listen to not only us but other shows, where you can, when things happen, you're going to be able to answer and help other people, and that's kind of a gift, I think, that we could all exercise.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Is there anything else before we let you go?
No, that's it, guys. You guys, just do an awesome job and keep everything up.
Well, thank you so much for the call. God bless you.
God bless you,
and
my friend.
Stay safe, and we wish you the best with your family. We hope they come around.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Take care. Good night. Yeah, that's always difficult, to really, and we're in the same position. I know most of our listeners are in that same position.
Before we get to another phone call, I want to hit this piece of news. It was on the front of Drudge just not too long ago. Ex-Gitmo detainee involved in Libya attack. An intelligence source told Fox News they are convinced the deadly attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya, was directly tied to al-Qaeda, with a former Guantanamo detainee involved. The revelation came on the same day as the top Obama administration official called last week's deadly assault a terrorist attack. The first time the attack has been described that way by the administration after claims that it was a spontaneous act.
No, see, I don't agree with anything that I treat that information with a lot of suspicion. I really do. I wouldn't rule it out, but I certainly believe that they've lied already about this whole incident.
And John McCain, these are his patriots. Hillary Clinton, these are her freedom fighters.
Right.
And we see what they really fight for.
As we
really appreciate.
Speaking of fighting, we're fighting off some pretty nasty, lingering head colds. So if we sound like chipmunks or whatever, we apologize.
Yeah. FBI eager to embrace mobile rapid DNA testing. The FBI has been dreaming about this for years. To do near-instant DNA analysis using mobile equipment in the field. And now, rapid DNA gear is finally here. The idea that you simply drop into the system a cotton swab with a person's saliva, for example, and the rapid DNA machine spits out the type of DNA data that is needed to pin down identity is now reality.
See, now, as investigators, this stuff can be used for good. I mean, you can identify a person.
Well, I mean, I understand DNA testing for felons,
right? But how this is being used now to collect your DNA and put it in a database, the nefarious aspect of this is just incredibly.
Think about this. This article says that the FBI is said to have already at least 10 million. DNA records.
Well, they've taken your DNA of children when they're born without the permission and knowledge of the parents
for the last 35 years, according to Alex Jones.
And we've had that verified as much as we can, where the hospitals actually take the child's DNA, whether it be. It first started out. They did the footprints. Remember the cutesy footprint, and the fingerprints and stuff. Well, then it went to. Blood, and now I'm not sure what form that they're using right now, or a combination of all.
Yeah, and I'm just going to end the story with this. I suggest you guys look this up for further information, but the FBI is very happy, excited, and they anticipate a significant expansion of DNA collection by means of this rapid DNA equipment. And look for these at DUI checkpoints. Look for these at TSA checkpoints.
Yeah,
they will be coming to a checkpoint near you, and a checkpoint will be coming to a street near you. With that, we will move on to another phone call. If you want to take it, we'll go to area code 519.
Yeah, we're taking the calls, by the way, folks, in the order in which they were received. So we appreciate your patience.
Area code 519. You're on live with the Hagmann and Hagmann.
Yeah, and after that, we're going to go to an international caller. But go ahead, 519.
No, okay. Hi, Doug, Joe.
Hi.
It's John from Leamington.
Hi,
hey, John.
What's on your mind tonight?
I just wanted to. Sorry if I sound nervous again. The first two times I called, it's.
Hey,
I know there's a million people. What's that?
Yeah, it's just us talking, and don't be nervous. Hey, if we can do this, you can come on and talk.
Yeah. Well, it's been on my mind. What I want to share something with you is, I know when I called you the first time, I mentioned something about the warning experience. And
yes.
You guys were okay. And maybe even Dave and Jason, they're frequent callers there. Eh? They might even know something about it. But the fact is, when it was Dave, I believe, that talked to you about the 3 days of darkness. I think that was
Padre Pio. Yes, Padre Pio.
Friday night.
Right, the 3 days of darkness.
Yeah. Well, this is another thing. It's about the warning event, and you can find it if you go to propheticvoices.com.
Okay.
If you click on prophets on the side, and the first one should be John Leary. If you click on his link, you'll go to his homepage, and the other seer that receives messages of this is Maria Divine Mercy from the Warning Second Coming.
Okay, well, let me interrupt you right there just for a second, because it's interesting, because the Jewish or the from Israel, there are a group of autistic children that are mirroring these prophecies. That these are autistic children, and I don't have the website right in front of me, but they are passing along very similar information to what these prophecies are saying, the prophets and or the visions, I should say. But anyway, go ahead with your call. I didn't mean to interrupt, but yet I did. So go ahead with your call.
Oh, that's okay. I just had two short explanations I wanted to read to you, if you let me.
Sure.
Go ahead. When I think about it, I also think of what I read in Scripture. I forget where, but St. Paul says something about what we see dimly now, as in a mirror, we will see clearly on the day of our Lord Jesus Christ. I don't know if you
who now? Where is that from? Is that
St. Paul? I forget which epistle. I don't know if
okay.
I thought it was in Galatians. Galatians, but I looked through it and I couldn't find it. But
it's okay. So what you're saying is essentially, you're okay. Go ahead. I don't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh no, actually, I must be interrupting you. Sorry.
No.
Well, okay. And the one from John Leary, Jesus says, "My people, I remind you of my warning, which is not far off. Do not be disappointed if life does not continue on as you are used to it. In order for my purification of the earth to be effective, there must be some dramatic changes. You know that you are in the end times, by the many signs I send you. Also I go before you to prepare my people with a mercy only I can provide." Excuse me. "This will be a life review or a mini judgment. You must make room for me in your hearts and seek forgiveness of your sins. Repent and convert now, while there is still time. And brace yourselves for my warning, which will be a startling experience to see all of your lives as I would see them in your judgment.
Huh.
And it says, have faith that this preparation will be received by all of mankind. I know you asked me like who would be affected by this, and it would be for the whole of humanity. And no matter what creed, faith, background, or any faith at all. And it says, heed the meaning of this warning and change your life around me before it's too late to be saved. And that's just one of them.
Well, it's interesting because the mention, the reference there to Jesus, the Bible, and I think we have to be really cautious with these modern day prophetic visions, and we have to really use spiritual discernment. But if it's consistent with what's in the Bible, that's kind of verified. I mean, to me, the Bible has enough 75% of the Bible is prophecy. So that to me is look, if I truthfully, that's my reference for prophecy. But no, it's consistent. So yeah, I don't think we're going to escape this, caller. I don't think we're going to be able to escape anywhere geographically.
Yeah.
Well, and I was thinking of people like yesterday, like Larkin Rose, is it? Or
yeah.
Yes.
Like I know people too that don't believe in that, and they're in my prayers, and now he's in my prayers. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's good. We appreciate that, and I think
as many people have turned away from faith, we definitely need to pray.
Well, there are a lot too,
because they know. I mean, they have been Christians before, so we have to pray that whatever burden turned them away is lifted, so that they can come back. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we let you go?
Well, I don't know if you want me to read the other one or not.
Yeah, just go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead? Okay.
Right now.
All right. And this one's from The Warning Second Coming. The warning will be a purifying experience for all of you. It may be unpleasant, in part especially for those in grave sin, because for the first time ever you will be shown what it feels like when the light of God disappears from your life. Your souls will feel abandoned like those who die in grave sin. For those souls who left it too late to ask God for forgiveness will be anguished. Remember, it is important that I allow all of you to feel this emptiness of soul, for only then you will finally understand that without the light of God in your souls, you cease to feel. You would be empty vessels. All sinners feel, and we are all sinners, we feel the light of God because He is present in every one of His created children on earth. But when you die in grave sin and have no love for God, this light no longer exists. Prepare now for this great event. Repent and save your souls while you still can, because the hour is late. For it will only be when the light of God leaves you that you will finally realize the empty, barren, and darkness that Satan offers you, which is eternal anguish. Replenish your souls and rejoice now, for the warning will save you and bring you closer to my sacred heart, and you will have proof of eternal life. Prepare your souls now for healthy souls will find the warning a joyous event.
That's fine, caller. Wow. Look, it says a lot, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah,
it says a lot.
I know it's worded different, but they're basically the same,
Yeah.
And they're from different.
Yeah, look, I would urge everyone to just research Padre Pio, the final warning with Kathleen Keating, and of course, the prophetic voices, and also the autistic children in Israel. But caller, we're going to cut you loose, John. God bless you, my friend. Thank you for those words of warning.
Wisdom, and warning.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Well, God bless you too, and hopefully next time, because see, last night was the first time I got to see you on the computer. I just been listening, but so.
Well,
you're still here, so that's a good sign.
Yeah. It didn't. You're still listening. That's a good sign. That's right. Thanks, my friend. All right.
Well, thank you, and God bless you too.
Thank you.
Wow. Let's go to the international line here.
International call here. I couldn't even say the area code, but
caller, you're
somebody
on
from another country. You're on the air with the Hagmann and Hagmann Report.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Hagmann. I am calling from Bordeaux, France.
Oh, you're one of our favorite people.
Oh, thank you.
Good.
I have been listening to you and following you regularly when I can. Oh, tonight I want, sometimes I try to connect the dots on what is happening around the world, because people are always saying maybe they want to leave the country, either here in Europe or in America, and it is like, where are they going to go? The whole world is turning upside down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's getting crazy, and I wanted to call attention to people that some things here in Europe that are happening, and I connect them with the things that are happening in the States. For example, in July of this year, the German Constitutional Court legalized the use of the army against citizens.
Really?
And it was very little articles. Nobody was talking about it. And I find that, for example, they said that it would be called during especially serious accidents, or for police support, or for national disasters, or for impeding terrorist attacks. But however, I find this, that what this law has given the military power is practically a free hand of the military. And all of this is taking place in Europe, and nobody is paying attention to this. And this German militarization has direct link to the economic and social crisis that we are also having here in Europe. Because in the last years, nobody has been noticing also that the Bundeswehr has dramatically changed its character, and nobody is paying attention to this. And sometimes I connect it with you have what you call the NDAA law that Obama passed on New Year's Eve of last year.
Correct.
And it was that he can arrest citizens all around the world, and has the right to assassinate. And, well, practically that means that the Geneva Convention does not exist. I interpret that to mean that.
Yes.
And that's very serious, because also that means that the U.S. it maintains many black sites all around the world, including here in Europe. For example, and they're having activities. I would like to know what they are doing in Bosnia and Kosovo and Lithuania, and. For example, in America, they are going to put the citizens in FEMA, but nobody is talking about what they are planning to do with us when we start rioting, and the economic system is going to fall. They must have a secret plan for us too, that no one here in Europe is talking about it yet.
You raise a good point, a couple of good points.
Yeah. I want to ask you, we have been hearing reports of unrest, of economic unrest in Portugal and Spain and Italy.
Oh, it's very, very bad, and they don't show it on television here in France, but you can see it on the how do you say, independent news lines. It's terrible. They are talking about Spanish unemployment is up to 45%, over 45%. Portugal, it's crazy. I have people in Italy. It's gone crazy. We are crumbling over here. We are having, factories here in France are closing down. I don't know, and taxes are going up.
Oh, yeah.
Naturally. So I don't know. Europe is, if anybody is thinking about coming to Europe, I can say please don't, because it is just as bad here in Europe. And we are having an influx we are right on the border with Spain, and we are having an influx of people coming in from Spain looking for work here, and they are willing to work for anything. I'm telling you, if you give them a few euros, they are willing to work for that, because they are absolutely desperate in Spain, and they are being kicked out of their homes in Spain because they are unable to pay the rent. You have people living in parks, families living in parks, family living in forest areas, and it's really, and nobody is showing this on the television. All they are showing is very nice people on holidays and back to school, and everything is nice. And I was, when I talk to people, they say no, but they think I am a fearmonger. And they say, no, but look at the stock market, and you try to explain to him that that is not an indication because it's manipulated. And then, they say, yes, I am really talking off of my head. I don't know what I'm talking about. But, yes, it's really becoming very, very, very bad here in Europe.
That's not the part of the anatomy I get accused of talking out of, but that's okay.
You just had the election of a very socialist president, and I suspect things will get drastically worse.
Of course, because people are angry with François Hollande. They are angry with him because all of his promises, that he was promising cheap gasoline and everything is going to be cheap, and now he's unable to maintain those fantasies that rhetoric, that pre-election rhetoric that he was running. And what can he do? Because I will tell you, it was 20 years ago. I think it was it Mitterrand? François Mitterrand, when he was president, he came out and said publicly, I cannot control the finances. I do not control the finances. So anybody who is saying they control the finances, we know that they are not able to do it. The strings are being pulled by the man behind the curtain. It is the banks that are doing it. And very, very, very strangely, also the banks are investing in military now. They must, and that is very, very dangerous when the banking system starts to become militarized as they are becoming now.
Right. Wow.
I have a question kind of off the topic of what we're talking about now, but I saw this story yesterday, and I want to just be clear. I think it was from Paris. Is it true, or have you heard that they are going to stop allowing cars to drive on major roads in Paris?
They have been talking about this very quietly. It started last year that they was trying to promote this electric car.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they want to, and they was talking about all the good things about this electric car, how it was going to be, people didn't have to depend on benzene, and how it was going to save the pollution and all the good things. But then I said immediately, I spoke out against it, and I said I don't like this, because anytime you have an electric car, the government can stop it. Anytime they want to, they can turn it off. They track it. They know where they are at all times. And people was not thinking about this. They was just thinking, oh, this is good, the green people, this is good for the environment and all the plants and flowers, and it can be a good thing. But people don't look at the other side of the coin, that it is a very dangerous thing for the government to do this. Because, people are used to the government taking care of them, and now we are all domesticated, and we are used to the government telling us what is good for us. And nobody is questioning. Some people question, but the majority of the people, they don't question these things.
Well, what Joe asked about, and what you referenced, is essentially the exportation of Agenda 21.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
United Nations Agenda.
Yes, and they are, and now we are getting new laws here, and it is for our own good. For example, now I wanted, for example, last week I wanted to order some vitamins and supplements and minerals from the United States. And I was told I can't do it because we have laws here in France that we can't import vitamins and minerals from America. And now the European Parliament is going to make new laws about concerning vitamin, minerals, and supplements here because they are very dangerous. We have to take the pharmaceuticals company medications and keep the doctors busy and the hospitals busy. We are too ignorant to take care of ourselves. We need the government to do it for us.
Yeah, they're doing that here as well. They're planning on banning vitamins. There's talk of that legislation pending on.
But I
yes, but I find that it's very coincidental that it is the same time that they're talking about it in the United States, at the same time that they're talking about it here. You see, everything is, I think, is connected because when they're doing things here, you can look and try to find the connection here in Europe because like you're doing your new quantitative easing of Bernanke is making it, and now the European community is going to also be producing money now. So that means high inflation for us too. So a lot of things that they are coordinated to at the same time when you are doing it in the States, that is also happening here in Europe.
Well, don't forget that Christine Lagarde, who's the head of the IMF, is actually educated in Chicago. And,
of course, yes. She was educated in America, and she also does contracts for the American military here in Europe. For example, when they need a missile, she has a contract for missiles in Eastern Europe. She's the one that does it. Because she's very, very pro-American military.
Right.
So she has diplomatic immunity. That means she can do anything, and she can commit any type of crime, which they do commit, and they're not arrested. They're not held accountable, and they have diplomatic immunity, and they don't pay taxes. But she has the nerve to tell Greece that we have to get off our behinds and pay our taxes to the banks.
Oh, absolutely unreal. I mean, that's the same thing we're hearing here. We have to pay our fair share, even though
austerity measures.
We're not the ones that are causing these problems or wasting this money. And I want to say, you are much more informed than most of the people in America, and it is refreshing to know that there are people out there, even from other countries, who are keeping up with world events, with events in their own country and in America.
Well, I don't get that impression when I'm talking to the people here in Bordeaux because, sometimes for example, I went out tonight. I was going to my work, coming home from my work, and I see all these chemtrails, and I get angry. These things make me angry. They don't make me afraid. They make me angry because our government is doing this to us, and if you ask the average person here in Bordeaux what is a chemtrail, they won't even be able to tell you. They don't even know what it is. They think it's an airplane, and I think the best thing I did is one time I went to the bookshop here in Bordeaux, and I found a book in French. It was by Jesse Ventura. And I gave it to my friend, and they was amazed. That what I was saying was really something that people are talking about.
His latest book, I think he came out with The Democrypts and
No, it wasn't that. It was an old book. Are you kidding? It'll take another 5 years for that one to get over here translated.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No, we are not that quick,
I got some requests in the chat room. People would like to know what your name
Your
is.
first
Your
name. Your first name, yeah.
Well, my name is Constance.
Constance?
Yes, Constance.
Constance.
You say in English, Constance?
Constance. Okay, sorry about that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, it's now one question here. There was a bombing in Paris as a result of this alleged Muslim violence. Did you hear about that today?
That grenade or something like that?
Yeah, it was a small explosion.
Oh, I don't know. It looks suspicious, because anybody that puts, anybody that does a bomb, it's like when I don't know if you remember that last year with Sarkozy, that was a killing of the children in the city of Toulouse.
Oh yes.
You remember the Jewish children?
Yes.
The Jewish school that was attacked, and it was found out that this guy had been working with the secret French police, because anytime something like bombs or weapons, you can't get that. And I can't walk into a store and buy those type of things.
Of course.
They're coming from somebody is giving them those things, because we are not like in America where you can go into a store and buy a gun or a certain type of ammunition and certain weapons. It is impossible if you're not military, if you're not police, and even the military. It's very difficult to get a hold of those things. So anytime anybody has a bombing or something, I'm very suspicious, because more than the bombings, that happens, it is some type of secret police or that is usually behind with some little patsies that they can find here.
Amazing.
We call them false flag operations.
Amazing.
Over here.
Yes, we have them. In fact, I find that all the bombings that have been going on in Europe have been false flags, because it's impossible that the common people can get a hold of those type of bombs and those type of weapons here, and it's impossible. We can't even get a vitamin here in France.
Yeah. Heck,
much less a grenade or something like that.
Yeah, you can't get B12s or B1s. The average person. But no, it's wow. My last question to you, Constance, is. What do you see? What are you hearing over in France about just everything about America right now? What's obviously, with
when none of our newspapers are talking about it, they just talk about little financials, things that now what the big news is last week the German Constitution changed the Constitution to give the money to Brussels. So now we are going to slowly lose our sovereignty, and the elections, and what is the polls. That is the most news. But the main newspapers, they do not talk about anything serious that are going on. The main newspapers. I don't think anybody is doing journalism for the main newspapers, because they're all copying, I think, the articles of Reuters or some other things, and everybody, you don't get the news.
That's right.
You really don't have the news.
Well, that's why we try to cover everything, and I want to thank you for talking about the court ruling about Germany, the operations, because that just appeared last month on Sky News. It was just a little story. We found it here.
Yes, and I found a very little story. I think because I was reading, I got it hold of out of the Süddeutsche Zeitung, the German newspaper.
Right.
And it's very small, because they did have comments in it in Germany, but nobody else here in Europe spoke about it. And I said, is this the rise of the Fourth Reich? I said that as a joke, but Germany is getting more and more and more powerful, and when all of Europe, yes, if Europe fails and the euro fails, yes, she will have a bad time, but look at her gold reserves. She has a lot of gold reserves, and she will be able to recover in about in 2 years. It wouldn't take a long time to recover as another major power here in Europe.
Ah, that's true.
So I don't want to speak badly about the German people. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying who is going to control Europe here? Because if they're building up their military again, I think that we should pay attention to that.
Yeah, I mean, because they're actually going against rules or laws that have been in place since the 1940s.
And what's happened with...
Yes, they are changing their constitution, and they have been doing it very slowly over the years, building up their military, which, what we are committed to the Lisbon Treaty, we are committed to the Geneva Convention, but the Geneva Convention does not exist anymore. It is absolutely flushed down the toilet with the rest of the conventions and protections that we had here in Europe.
Right. Wow. Well,
thank you very much for accepting my call. I will let you go and answer other callers now.
Well, God bless you. Thank you so much for listening, Constance, and keep
God
in touch.
bless you too.
We have to make you our French correspondent. Is that all right? Can we official?
When will I sleep?
Yeah, what is it, 3:30 in the morning?
Yes, it is 3:15 in the a.m. here.
Well, thank you so much.
So good night and thank you.
All right, good night. Wow, good night.
Gotta love that. I was just typing in the chat room that how blessed we are. I mean, we received a thank you from somebody in Taiwan about the Henry Guru show. They said, I want you to know you at least touched one person's heart and soul from Taiwan, and that's the message they sent. And, a caller from France. We've had callers from other places across the world, and it is so hard for me to fathom that we have an international audience, and we are so blessed. And with that, we're late for our top of the hour break.
We're going to
take a short break. When we come back, we're going to play a clip about the war games going on in the Strait of Hormuz, and then we have a
tied into the Iran story, which we're going to get into.
Reality check update on Afghan attacks on U.S. soldiers. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Hagmann and Hagmann Report. We'll be back after these short messages.
Survival of the fittest. In any and all situations, survival is your number one priority. That requires being tough and thinking smart. And the folks at Freeze Dry Guy are going to help you do just that. They have the long-range patrol ration entrees, what they call the Brick Pack. When you're in survival mode, it is absolutely the best item for your survival pack or bug-out bag. You can go farther, faster, and carry more food with the LRP cold weather ration entrees. Not only do these long-lasting, durable entrees help sustain you or your family through the harshest environment or situation, they are by far the most delicious of their kind. No contest. With a variety of tasty entrees, you can't beat the LRP Brick Packs. Let Freeze Dry Guy help you in your survival situations. Go to freezedryguy.com. That's freezedryguy.com. Or call 866-404-3663. That's 866-404-FOOD.
Hi folks, Doug Hagmann here. You might know me as the co-host from the Hagmann and Hagmann Report, or as a frequent guest on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. If you're like me, you're tired and confused over today's headlines. You just don't know where to turn for accurate, concise information about really what's going on, what's truly going on in today's society. If you don't know where to turn for accurate, well-researched, and properly vetted news, I've got a suggestion. In fact, it's a requirement. Bookmark Canada Free Press. That's CanadaFreePress.com on the internet. It's just not for Canada. It's for news across the world. Judy McLeod, founding editor, has put together a vast array of talented writers like Kelly O'Connell, Daniel Greenfield, Dr. Eilena Johnson-Powell, a lot of guest columnists, very talented writers. Folks, that's Canada Free Press at CanadaFreePress.com. Now mobile friendly. Follow on Facebook, because without America, there is no free world. Don't you just love that dead air? Folks, I just want to tell you about our new sponsor. That is mindregard.com. Mindregard.com. I am taking nootropic, and this is a daily supplement. Take 2 tablets a day. I've got to tell you, what a difference this food supplement, this vitamin, this non-drug, non-pharmaceutical, I guess, supplement has. What a difference it's made in my life. Now you might not be able to tell it right now, but I'll tell you what, I've had a change in cognition, ability to think clearer. It does have antioxidant properties, and it contains a combination of Western confirmed dietary supplements, as well as supplements that have some type of effect that gives a holistic approach to your brain function. It's the first cognitive supplement to incorporate lion's mane with other mutually supportive ingredients. Folks, go to mindregard.com. And I always tell people, I don't endorse anything that I don't take or believe in myself, but I've got to tell you, this stuff really, really works. That's mindregard.com, mindregard.com. Tell them the Hagmann and Hagmann Report sent you. Now, as we come back from this break, we do want to play, Joe, a clip.
We're going to play.
This does fit into things here.
We're going to play the clip of. I guess we'll play the clip of the Strait of Hormuz war games, and we'll save the reality check for
tomorrow,
for later. But here is Russia Today talking about the U.S. and the UK-led military power play in the Strait of Hormuz.
A major international armada of naval power has massed off the Iranian coast for what's believed to be the biggest military exercise ever seen in the region. The American and British-led show of force near the strategic Strait of Hormuz comes as Israel has ramped up its warmongering rhetoric against Iran. And as Sarah Furth explains, there are further indications that a showdown with Iran may be on the cards.
Britain's one of 25 countries taking part in a 12-day exercise in the Strait of Hormuz in the largest war games ever undertaken in the region. Now, this comes as fears grow that Israel is preparing to launch a preemptive strike against Iran's alleged covert nuclear weapons program. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has said that Iran's 6 to 7 months away from having 90% of what it would need to create an atomic bomb. Now, these are claims that Iran vehemently denies, and they've also warned that they will retaliate across the region were they to come under attack. Now, here in Britain at the same time, the former Liberal Democratic Defence Minister, Nick Harvey, has claimed that he was fired in the recent cabinet reshuffle to avoid a damaging coalition split over a preemptive strike on Iran. Now, he's reported to have told friends that he was fired in that reshuffle to allow the Deputy Prime Minister to sign up to an Israeli-US preemptive strike, and that his criticisms of Israel's actions could prove embarrassing for the coalition. Well, this comes on the back of continued concerns here that these war games and the recent statements are all signs that Israel and Iran are edging ever closer to the brink of war.
Hold on to your seat. The Hagmann and Hagmann flight is now taking off. Doug and Joe Hagmann have cleared the runway of TSA agents, jihadists, political crackpots, and global elitists. Now get ready for some real news. Here they are, Doug and Joe Hagmann.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to hour number 2.5, as we took a late second or top of the hour break. Welcome back to the Hagmann and Hagmann Report on this Wednesday, September 19th, 2012. We have some callers on hold.
Oh, and don't forget, by the way, if you could stand us for 2 hours, then maybe you can stand us for 3, because October 1st, we're going to go to 3 hours.
Yes, I'm excited about that. 3-hour show every single night. And it is going to be, I think, excellent.
It's going to give us more time to get into detail.
And yes, the 2 hours we have on air seem to go so fast every single night.
And
we will be able to cover maybe for the first time in the history of the Hagmann and Hagmann Report, all the news that we put together for a show. So
yeah, and I really hesitate to say this, but because of everyone's help, and this is being a listener-supported broadcast, and to a lesser extent, a sponsor-supported show as well. But for the first time, hopefully, and again, I don't want to curse myself by saying this, but I don't believe in that anyway. But anyway, we hopefully will have a couple of different cameras and more. The other studio that we have, we want to open that up and use some actual physical, like whiteboards and blackboards and what have you. Now we've got that.
Yeah,
we just haven't really been able to get that to work.
And thanks to the support of our very generous listeners, we have been able to upgrade our studio equipment, and we are going to be able to we're trying to get the best programs for media, for broadcasting, audio and video, and hopefully very soon, I keep saying this, but hopefully very, very soon, we will be making some YouTube videos, and not just sitting and talking to the camera, but videos that are
instructive.
Not only instructive, but also professionally done with the software we will be updating with. So we can't thank you guys enough, because it was not possible without you guys. And
just everything that we do, we try to. For example, every bit we get in, we put back into the show, or we try to be good stewards of what we have, and so that you've helped us. Instead of putting a sheet in our mom's basement as a backdrop, we've actually been able to upgrade things. So that's good. Okay.
Before we move to calls, I want to hit on this article, as it is very important. Monsanto genetically modifying corn caused tumors in rats. Study shows.
Yeah, they won't even.
French scientists have revealed that rats fed on genetically modified corn sold by American firm Monsanto suffered tumors and other complications, including kidney and liver damage. When testing the firm's top brand weed killer, the rats showed similar symptoms. The French government has asked its Health and Safety Agency to assess the study, and has also sent it to the European Union's Food Safety Agency, as Reuters reported. Now, based on the conclusions, the government will ask European authorities to take all necessary measures to protect human and animal health, measures that could go as far as emergency suspension of imports of NK603 maize in European Union.
Oh yeah, maize.
The French.
But see, they wouldn't even serve this food in their own cafeterias.
Right.
So what does that tell you?
We know that the genetically modified foods can cause organ failure. Studies have been done here in the U.S. on mice, and it significantly increases the chances for you to have organ failure. And this is not in a long-term sense. This is
I guess.
in a short-term as well. I mean, these foods are non-natural. God
But wait,
provided.
stop right there. Here's what I want to know. Folks, can you tell me this? And I have not been able to get an answer. I actually asked. I went shopping the day before yesterday. Went into the grocery store. And, boy, that was a trip.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You can't.
I
asked,
don't know. How do you tell? Like, for example, I went in and I asked. It was a grocery store chain here locally, and I thought, and I usually don't do this, go in and buy like vegetables from a grocery store. But specific purpose was, where did this corn come from? Not that I didn't buy any. I just wanted to know where it came from. And it took me like, nobody knew. No one. I could not get anyone in that store that knew.
No.
Now, my question is this: if it's genetically modified, how can you tell? Is it marked?
Well, no, it's unlabeled, and Walmart is selling unlabeled insecticide GMO corn from Monsanto, and Monsanto has fought and has been successful in their fight because of their backing of people like Bill Gates and the Rockefellers and these globalists who are have a campaign to make sure that the food is not labeled as genetically modified food. They are destroying, raiding, and criminalizing organic, natural food in order to sell you death food,
right?
Poison. And this is going on in the United States. It has been going on in the United States. And Monsanto's even threatening to sue the entire state of Vermont over labeling the genetically modified food as genetically modified.
But see, okay, so they do it. So is it a regional thing or a state thing where they mark this as genetically modified?
I'm not sure. From what I see, each state, the understanding I have right now is, at least from Pennsylvania, I see no labels. I've looked for, warnings saying that this is, not natural corn, this is GM corn. Even in seeds, it's not on the seeds that they sell in the grocery stores.
But I talked to roadside stands, and they're able to tell you, we got our seed from this company, but then how do you know where that company got
Right, and not only that, but the crops that Monsanto plants can easily cross-pollinate, infect other corn, natural corn, then Monsanto can go and turn and sue the farmers of the farms that they're.
But we got to look. We got to find out, and we really do. We have to find out either from our listeners or from our listeners
how to identify genetically modified food.
Yeah, we've got.
And I'll
to
make a
find
note
out.
of that, and because, hopefully we can get some answers on this because it is issue of life or death.
Yeah, it really is. You need to know, we need to know, and we're going to find out because everyone talks about this genetically modified corn, genetically modified vegetables and food, but we have to find out how we can identify it, where it's at, and how we can avoid it. And even I believe even some of the organic labeled foods are mislabeled or are.
Absolutely,
there's just stuff not right about this. But
the whole Department of Agriculture is, under the umbrella of the executive branch, and probably under Department of Homeland Security. You got the EPA, and they are in bed with Monsanto because that's where the money comes from. They are more interested in money than they are in, making sure that people are aware and have the availability of making a choice for themselves of what kind of food they want to eat.
Well, it's and it's just, look, this is just as important, just as much life and death as the Straits of Hormuz. Now, speaking of that, and this is something that we mentioned in the beginning, and callers on hold, just hold on just one moment, please. I want to get into this. I want to thank Leo, a listener to this program, for sending this to me. This was from Israel National News, and I've been on their program before. Just really briefly here, it's an extensive story that came out back at the beginning of September, and people have been asking. I've been receiving emails about the Iranian threat. Well, why don't we talk about this? Well, we know that the situation is going to go hot. We know that when it does, the Straits of Hormuz are going to have. Iran can close the Straits of Hormuz without really too much of a problem. We do have our fleet over there to ostensibly keep that strait open. Is it in our best interest? If you look at the Mediterranean, for example, you can see, and Glenn Beck did an excellent article or expose about this, where he pointed out all the countries around the Mediterranean and how how you would get oil out of there if the straits do close. But again, I want to thank Leo for this. An article that was written by Edwin Black. This guy is a very reputable person. He's written a number of books, and he's very knowledgeable about the Iranian situation. But there are 4 determining factors, ladies and gentlemen, the dynamics of which will govern whether Israel launches a preemptive attack against Iran. That is, if they are launching this preemptive attack on the basis of feeling legitimately threatened. This is politics aside. Take politics out of the equation. There are 4 factors that they are looking at. Number 1, whether or not Iran has enough highly enriched uranium Now, when I say highly enriched uranium, highly enriched to 90%, to make a bomb. Number two, machining that highly enriched material into metal for a spherical warhead so it can fit into the missile nose cone for detonation. Number three, a trigger mechanism. And this is important because the first two are pretty easy. The third, the triggering mechanism, is a little bit more difficult, and that would initiate the atomic explosion at the precise moment of missile re-entry. And this, we're talking about missiles from Iran to Israel. And not this using the Shahab-3 missiles, folks. They already have the Shahab missiles, which are really, and you can look this up, they're kind of a variation of the No-Dong North Korean missiles. But the fourth thing is the reliable rocket delivery system to carry such a weapon. So there's four criteria that are being used for this particular, to making this decision. But, you know, again, that's politics aside. Now, it appears that politics are never aside. And having said that, you know, they can't wait, by the way. I guess my point is this. They cannot wait until all four of these have been completed. Because once that happens, the minute after they have a delivery system, the minute they have everything done, look, it's too late. It's too late. And I cannot tell you how many books I've read. Nuclear Iran, for example, just a really weighty book. Other books about this. It's how this all came to pass and under whose watch it came. You know, it just didn't happen under Obama. It was under Bush. It was under Bush Sr. and Clinton. And
yeah, and even the GMO, I'm just looking here now. It says since the Clinton administration made biotechnology a strategic priority for the U.S. government backing, one, it made giant transitional agribusiness concerns have aggressively taken over global food chain by flooding it with genetically modified organisms.
Everybody's in on this.
Right, and it goes on and on. This is the continuity of agenda that we constantly talk about. The faces of the president, of the vice presidents, of the House of Representatives and Senate will change.
So, yeah,
the controllers of all of those people will stay the same. And that is the problem that we have. And we need, more now than ever, as it seems like such an impossible task, to rid Washington of these self-serving political creatures that are wholly selfish. I mean, just completely selfish to the point where they put money interests over the well-being of their own people they're elected to represent.
And I just got an email. I kind of want to break in a little bit. I just got an email too about from someone who, and I have to be very careful how I say this, but this person has a family member in the military. And the military, what this email says here, essentially, and I'm going to just tell you what it says. I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to tell you what it says. The person who sent me this email has a close family member that is coming back to the United States. This person's been overseas. It's a fairly high rank in the military, and the purpose of this person, or the purpose of this email, is to let people know that the military is preparing for something. Now, we know that, but specifically the troop movements in this country, or the movements of military assets as well as personnel in this country, is specifically a plan for war. Now, my question to that emailer, and if you can email me back, war against who? Obviously. I mean, we could say war against, what, American people? War against Russia? War against, the Muslims? War against the Mexicans? Who? But I guess the reason I wanted to break in and tell you this is a credible military source who's saying, look, they are moving assets and materials and personnel around the country. And this person also states, look at the movements, analyze the movements. This is a preparation for war. You only see this in preparation for war. So I wanted just to kind of share that with you because we're getting more and more information like this. And in fact, Dr. Williams today even mentioned about something very similar to this. So we're getting confirmation that right now here in the United States, our military is preparing for something.
Yeah.
What? You know?
That's the frustrating part. We don't know what. As the Department of Homeland Security buys another 200 million rounds of ammunition yesterday, bringing the total to 1.4 or 1.6 billion rounds. The fact that they say that it is for training and their own purposes, I do not buy for a second.
Yeah, and I know that there's a divide among people. Look, I don't either. I don't believe that. Now, it
could
sounds
some of it
good.
be used for training purposes? Sure.
Yeah.
But not that many. It's not, in my opinion, to fill their own needs. It is for much more than that, whether they are using it, buying it to distribute to other countries or other rebel groups, or, however they plan on using this ammunition. There is a nefarious purpose behind the good intention that they claim that they purchase it under.
Yeah, and as someone told me too, and when I asked this on an official basis as a contributor for Canada Free Press, and this, honest to goodness, this is what, because I was trying to track down. Look, is this really for domestic use or target practice? What's it for? And I'm not making this up. The person says this is on a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know. And I'm thinking, wow, what are you in third grade? But okay. Yeah, so what does that tell you? I suppose if it was legitimate, perhaps the answer might be a little bit different.
And I want to tell you, we'll hear more about this next week, but you remember those, in Georgia, they had those things, those big totes people called coffins that could hold up to four people. Well, there was a sighting in a rural area of Ohio yesterday of an estimate of around 5,000 of those.
Going where, do we know?
On 3 different vehicles. No, and we'll have more clarity on that next week.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, and also too, we did have a listener who sent some photographs of talk about movements.
We keep getting these. Yeah, multiple listeners have sent multiple photographs.
There are some of these that we get we could tell because we send them to somebody that we know who looks at them and says, okay, well, this is what's going on here. Don't worry about it. Others are saying, well, this is a little bit strange, especially when you're talking about loaded. I'm not sure what the offensive vehicles are. They're not tanks, but they're offensive vehicles that have missiles on them, and they're loaded. Well, look, that's not normal. That's not normal. And we have a couple of photographs of those vehicles. The only problem is I can't get permission to show them. So. But you can take my word for it. I got them.
You can find. There's just as many as we privately receive. I'm sure there are just as many that are put up on YouTube.
Yeah.
And other internet forums.
If I could find the something that looks like these vehicles. Now I have privately showed them to our military contact who said, "Oh, no, this is not good." And we've talked about this, but they're loaded with they're missiles on the side. They're missile carriers, if you will.
Yeah, and I have a picture sent by a listener of in their local area. They actually, to get this picture, they had their child pose with the armored vehicle.
Yes,
and,
I saw that.
These creepy vehicles, these tank-like Hummer. Well, they're huge. Yeah, these things
vehicles
look like they're monster truck. SWAT team. Ready for combat. It looks like you could shoot a missile at these things and it wouldn't do anything.
You're not stopping them with a 38 or a 45 or a 40 or anything, man.
And what do individual police departments need these for, let alone the multiple hundreds and thousands of these that the government is obtaining? On top of that, also local police are obtaining these.
We have... Man, I didn't mean to interrupt. I keep doing that.
That's all right.
Look, folks, I don't know. I talking to Steve, talking to Greg. I know Greg Evenson, who we're going to have on next Tuesday. When
Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay. I know he's asked a lot of questions, and I know for a fact he's been harassed.
And it continues. It's ongoing.
I got to tell you, I've been getting more and more reports of people who have been asking questions about military movements. People asking questions, even with family members, are getting harassed. When I say harassed, I'm not talking about being name called, but I'm talking about getting actual visits to their homes.
Yep.
Intimidating visits.
Yep.
Don't ask questions. Now, look, Greg will come on and tell you.
Yep.
But I've got 5 other people behind Greg, or in addition to him, that will not come out and say, "Hey, this is what happened." But you're just gonna have to take our word for it, man. This is happening, so it's dangerous to ask questions.
And Greg will tell you. He will expand on it more if he wants to. But
and this altogether, the timing of this, folks, the dollar index, and we got to get this real quick, and I apologize for everyone on hold.
Oh yeah,
dollar index headed for rapid collapse,
possibly within 3 to 4 weeks.
Yes, and folks, remember what Gerald Celente says: currency wars, trade wars, and then actual global wars. That's what we're seeing right now. That's what happened during the Depression and entering into World War II. That's what's happening right now. And this chart was on multiple websites, and I believe it was on CNBC. You probably can't see it, but folks, if you can, fine. If you can't, just take my word for it. It's a chart.
I'll post the link in the chat.
The weak U.S. currency puts continued pressure on the Japanese yen, the Chinese yuan, and the South Korean won, the Australian dollars, and other currencies. And this is what Constance from France was kind of alluding to as well. It's happening there. Cheap money fuels speculation, and this money quickly drifts into commodity markets and the electronic transfer of funds that help propel the commodity market speculation. This is inflationary for commodity prices, especially for food prices. So watch. The food prices in the next couple of weeks are going to start to rise. Anything imported, too. Any food that's imported, of course, we don't have to worry about Kobe beef, even without the Japanese thing. But I'm trying to, even nuts, macadamia nuts, for example, and other imported foods, coffee, sugar, all of this stuff. You watch; it's going to go up. Now, the U.S. dollar index, and this is something to watch. This is a basket of currencies. Include the euro, the yen, the British pound, the Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, and the Swedish krona. The dollar index is used as a measure of the strength or weakness of the dollar. Well, there are 3 significant features on the weekly dollar index chart, which I lifted up, but you really can't see. The first feature is the uptrend line that began in September of 2011. That was a year ago, and then this past September, the dollar index fell below that uptrend line. The weekly close below this line was the first signal of a major change in trend direction, and it just preceded the QE3 announcement. So that's a bad omen. Traders had a good warning, and if you're in the business, and there are bots, and you don't even play in the stock market unless you really know what you're doing, because you're fighting against computers and automated trades.
It is a rigged system. And was it Dr. Williams? We were on his show today?
Yeah.
I talked to him yesterday about this issue. The Federal Reserve Charter. Is it expiring at the end of this year? They had a 99-year charter starting at the end of 2013 or 1913. And is this QE3 the last ditch to get as much assets out of the worthless currency that they are about to dump at the end of this year? Are they going to renew their charter? It's not even being talked about. What is going to happen at the end of this year? Is the Federal Reserve notes going to be worthless when their charter runs out? Well, it won't be legal tender anymore, and you can bet your life that the second that they have a global currency or world economy problem, they will pose as the saviors and bring in this new solution, which will be a more consolidated currency. They say, this will be much stronger. It'll be backed by not one but many nations, and just like the European Union, how they convinced the European Union. We're either going to go into a full one-world economic system at the end of this year, or a North American Union currency system, or who knows? Will the Federal Reserve continue to act as the issuer of our money illegally?
Well, I don't think that they can possibly give that up. I mean, seriously, you've got the Federal Reserve so intertwined with the Treasury, and you've got if you really want an education, ladies and gentlemen, research, and I know the core of our listener base, you guys know more about this stuff than the average person, 10 times more, but look into the facts that surrounded the repealing of Glass-Steagall back in the late 90s. I got to tell you, it's really an education to find out who was behind that, the movers and shakers behind that, the reasons that they gave. And of course, Bill Clinton signed that into, the Graham. It was replaced by the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, GLB Act, but you really get into that whole to really have an understanding of how everything just kind of flipped and changed. That's really, at that time, within the last 20 years, that was the defining moment. And I know as investigators, that changed a lot of the rules for us. For example, we used to be able to get credit headers. Not you were still, but we used to be able to get credit headers on people and financial information on people legally. All right, now, some people still do, and they go to jail for it. But legally, that changed everything. The banking, at that point, everything changed. But I'm getting off track, so I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Well, let's go to the phones in the last couple minutes we got. I think Sheila disappeared. I saw she was on hold.
Sheila, we love you, man. I'm sorry.
We're going to go to Dave in Long Island. And for you other people on hold, if you want to talk with us, when you call in, press 1, and we receive a little mark next to your number that says that you would like to speak with a host, just in case any of you are on hold and want to talk. So we're going to go to Dave in Long Island.
Thanks for waiting.
Hey, Joe, Doug.
Thanks
How's it going?
How you doing, Joe? Doug. All right. Real quick, I want to just say, I know you guys are in a rush. Thank you for taking my call. I just want to say to everybody out there, I can't give any money personally. My son is helping me. That's how bad I'm doing right now. I'm thinking about maybe going to Pennsylvania, but with everything coming down, I don't know. I'm looking at maybe renting something out. But anyway, you people out there that got money, you should donate to this show, because this show really, is Christian-based, and you get a lot out of it. If I had something, you guys, I would definitely send it to you. And the vets, if I had ever won that big lottery, I would have definitely turned them on. I would have had a Wounded Warrior ship down in Texas somewhere going out into the Gulf, but then maybe the Russians would have took it out, right, with their sub.
Yeah. But hey, look, you raise a good point. We really, I'll tell you, if we win the lottery, the people coming home that without M's and I mean, it really makes me cry.
I was crying last week, Joe, Doug, when I went to church. I went to church, and this girl started to say things, prayers and stuff, and then I mentioned about the troops. I says they're in the most serious, grave danger as ever. And she broke down in tears. Later on, she had to leave, and I just gave her a kiss, and I tasted her tears and everything, and gave her a hug, and she went. But I can't believe what's going on. But that girl from France, beautiful caller. Too bad, she'd make a good anti-Viagra commercial. Because if we had more women like that, and I don't mean any women in the chat room, I'm just saying if we had more women like that, guys in this country wouldn't need Viagra.
Well, it's mental. You know what? Not mental Viagra. Yeah. I mean, sometimes people need a hit. Really.
Yeah.
And she knows more.
Right. I don't mean anything sexual. The Lord,
And it does.
I'm just talking about a beautiful spoken lady.
Yeah, men and women need to be more intellectual, and that is attractive to be, intellectual in a humble way. And that's a great attribute to have, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, by the way, you can thank us for saving you from that, okay? Saving you from the road you're down.
No,
that's okay.
Can I just say this? to anybody out there, the troops in this country, whatever, I don't know what's going on, but if you guys take out the American people, if the Chinese are on the shore or whatever, you guys are going to be in trouble without the American people shooting their guns, all right? So you better think about taking us out, because you guys are going to be left all alone. I hope you guys can do good without us Americans, okay? I got another thing here I just want to say. They want us to stop this stuff about talking, their crap about Islam. Well, I say to you, and I got this written down like Obama this time so I don't mess up. I say to you, President Obama, go on television and address the Muslims in Egypt, in Africa, and many other places where Muslims are slaying Christians. Let's hear our righteous president defend the Christians for once. Let's see you sheiks, imams, speak out about this genocide. You're all silent because you endorse it. I will never be silent. That's me. I will never be silent. I say, if you criminalize free speech and the genocide, I say everyone, go out and burn the Quran if they don't stop this killing of, if they make it illegal and you're going to go to prison or something like that, and they're going to continue doing what they're doing to the Christians all throughout this world, I say then, everybody, burn the Quran. Carry magic marker around with you and write everywhere. Write everywhere what you feel about peaceful Islam, in bathrooms, on walls, everywhere, but make sure you don't get caught. And let's criminalize like Christians if they say anything about Christians or Jews. All right? Let's criminalize like they do with Christians. All right? If you say anything about Christians or Jews. And as a matter of fact, let's get the UN to do an investigation into the wording in the Quran. And let's see if it says anything bad about Christians and Jews. And listen, being about small arms, how about we get the UN, Obama gets the UN first, and go over to the Middle East and get all those automatic rifles, grenades, shoulder-fired missiles out of the hands of civilians and young boys, Mr. United Nations. Our citizens in America aren't allowed to have them, Mr. United Nations. And two Russian troops that might be on our soil planning to maybe do something to us. I say to you, you might kill us pretty easy, but you know you couldn't stand up to an American soldier one-on-one. One-on-one, baby. You know the American soldier could outdo you. Like I saw you Russians burning the American flag on YouTube. All right? I say bring our troops home now. Bring our troops home now. Where is the outcry from the scum Democrats? You want our troops dead, don't you? You and Hussein Obama, you all suck.
And Dave, to add to your point about the Russian troops, you know, that may be able to kill Americans, you know, any soldier who is going to come out to try to kill us. You can kill our bodies, but as long as we have our faith and our relationship with the Lord, you can't.
That's right.
Souls.
And you know,
you got it.
We were talking. I was talking to Dr. Williams off air today, and again, but he said, you know, that's what we have to focus on. The fact that look, we're going to be, eternity is a long time. I'm not sure how long.
I know.
It's, you know.
I know. I know.
But man, we've got to be.
Do you troops over there, if you're listening, just have a personal relationship like me? I'm a Catholic, but I also have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Humble yourself to the Lord if you're scared over there, whatever is there. Speak to Him. I'm telling you, He will protect you. He will protect you. I've gone through different things in my life where He has protected me. I swear. Troops over there. All right?
Have faith. Have faith in God and get right. You're right, my friend. God bless you, Dave. You take care.
God bless everybody.
Thanks, Dave.
He was on a tangent there for a while.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Gotta love the emotion, passion. Yes, we have the best audience, the best people in chat. And for those of you who listen archive, we do have an interactive chat when we are live, and it is filled. I mean, you want fellowship.
I can't.
You want friends. You want to talk. You want to vent. Do you want spiritual help? Do you want to, be prayed for? Do you want to pray for other people? Go in the chat and talk to our audience who listens live and joins us in the chat room every night. These are great people, right. And they are truly, blessed with the Lord, and they are in tune with what His Word is, and it is shown it shines throughout the chat room every single night. It's one of my favorite parts of the show is coming and getting to talk to the people in the chat and listening to what they say. And not only that, but the callers and the people who send the emails and the people who reach out and let us know that they're out there listening. We cannot thank you enough in words. I do not know how to describe how blessed we feel to have people like yourselves on our side.
And I know that we miss talking. I you know what? I want to just get this in real quick before the end of the show. It seems like it seems like there's just not enough time. But in case you missed it, and I want to thank one of our listeners for sending this. Mike Zullo was in Hawaii, and again, who is it? Barack Hussein Obama. Well, Mike Zullo went to Hawaii on the QT. He went in there to try to. One of the things that he tried to do was obtain a long-form birth certificate of live birth for Virginia Sunohara, who passed. Died basically right after childbirth. Well, here's the reason why. They have the certificates of live birth, the numbers for 2 individuals born immediately prior to Barack Obama, then Barack Obama's number, and then Virginia Sunohara. If you look at this, and this story, it does appear on WorldNet Daily, where apparently they have an exclusive right to the Maricopa County investigation. But here's the important part of the story. The Nordyke twins, Gretchen Nordyke, they have serialized birth certificate numbers 637 and 638. Barack Obama's number is
90 seconds.
And Sunohara's number is way off the chart. So that means either Obama's or Sunohara's number, or Obama and the Nordykes are wrong. Which one is it? Well, geez, I would venture to guess Barack Hussein Obama. Therefore, I mean, that's just anecdotal evidence for forgery right there. Hopefully I made that clear. I really kind of try to cram that into a very short period of time.
60 seconds.
We have reached the end of our broadcast for this evening. Please join us tomorrow night, as we will be back at the same time. Not sure if we will have a guest or not. We're going to try to get in contact with Miss Ann Barnhart and get that situated.
Well, she can't do that tomorrow night.
Yeah. But we just want to thank each and every one of you so much for all that you do, all the prayers, all the support, the spreading the word about the show.
It's really important.
Yeah, we cannot thank you enough for being our audience. We feel we have the best audience in the world. We are so blessed, and we are continuing to grow, and it is only because of you and you spreading the word and supporting us. And we just want to say to each and every one of you, God bless you. And
10 seconds.
Get here tomorrow.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.